I really don't think that there's anywhere else that could compare to this. It has such a unique magic about it.
It's become a kind of destination for people to want to play. It's become a rite of passage for DJs to go through.
Manchester's one of my favorite places to begin with. I mean, I literally just stepped up, and it was just like the vibe is there. I'm like, oh wow, this is gonna be fun.
The people who come to Warehouse Project really understand the music. The set you play here, it has to count. It's probably like the most important one of the year.
Warehouse Project influences clubs and festivals all around the world. This is a leader event.
It have that vibe. Walk around, I meet random people in the crowd and everybody's so positive. It's quite a special thing.
I'd been working at a club called Sankey's in Manchester as the promoter. That had kind of run its natural course, really. And I was sat up very, very late one night with Christgo. I think it was the end of a long weekend. I just remember thinking, well, at Sankey's, the last 3 months of the year were always great. What if we just operated in that specific period? Like we found like a disused non-club and we could call it the Warehouse Project.
Sam thought of the name, I didn't like the name, but it grew on me.
When we announced the lineup, we still hadn't announced the venue. The reason we didn't announce the venue is because we didn't have one. The Mode Selector guys always say that when they first turned up at Boddington's, it was the worst gig they'd ever done, and we didn't even give them a table to set their gear up on.
And we walked in the door of that first night at Boddington's with Public Enemy playing. I just remember looking at Sam thinking like, this is going to explode.
Boddington's was a baptism of fire for all of us. When we did announce that it was going to be at Boddington's, it just kind of went bang. Store Street was a lucky find. It was operating as a car park Monday to Friday. Our original plan for that venue was just to do one weekend. We assumed that to do a whole season there wouldn't work. But actually, after we did that first weekend, we figured out the logistics to make it work. By the time we left, it was like running a bath.
See it transform from like a simple parking lot to this monster club, and you know, just knowing like a few hours later it's going to be back into like some kind of parking garage. It's like the strangest thing. It's the most efficient thing I've ever seen in my life. And for it to happen every week, that's even more incredible.
I remember the first time I went to Store Street, and I was like, what is this? This is a car park? Are we all in a car park right now? Like, I was quite taken aback.
It just transforms into this amazing space that is intimate, but at the same time is breathable. This will always be a unique, magical place in its own right that, in my opinion, cannot be compared to anywhere else.
I've known the team for over a decade. They put a lot of blood and sweat and tears into making it a really exciting and progressive thing. You know, they could easily just rest on their laurels and stay in the same venue and do the same thing every year, but they try and switch it up and they try and evolve it. I think they've turned it into something that they should be really proud of.
It's quite a unique experience. It's about the sound and everything else that goes along with throwing a good pie. And they nail it. And they gave me the biggest, fattest rider ever. She came in with like a JCB truck with like champagne, gin, vodka. I forgot the question now. What's the question?
I think the approach with artwork for the Warehouse Project is very much summarised by the logo. We wanted something that felt very futuristic and completely detached from old Manchester. There was a lot of noise in Manchester, that all of the best things were behind us. One thing we were adamant about was that every aspect of the Warehouse Project should feel brand new. So whether that was the logo, the style of the curation.
When Warehouse Project released their lineups, it's actually an event. It's like a film coming out or a music video or an album.
I think the curation behind the lineups has always been really like one of their strongest points. A lot of the time they give our artists the keys to the club, and as a result, it kind of opens up different networks.
They always give good support to sort of up-and-coming people as well as the more established DJs, and I think it's a good reference point for people to see what's going on in club culture.
One of the guys has come through the ranks with my crew, Patrick Topping. You know, they gave him his own night this year and it sold out straight away, and they've been done that with lots of different people over the years.
Young artists and new artists are getting put in front of massive, massive audiences, and that really pushes them on, because you can't always be playing
tiny clubs at the beginning, it kind of speeds up the process to be given a platform like that.
It's really important that places like the Warehouse Project exist to put left field club culture on a big stage. I went and got into my music by going to soul weekenders that were made for thousands of people, but I'd find the room at the back that was playing weird stuff and interesting stuff to my ears. But I wouldn't have got there if it hadn't been for the big events being there in the first place. So for me, this is a really great open door for people to kind of discover all sides of dance music.
I think Warehouse Project is all about supporting the underground, whether that's underground club culture or, you know, putting on shows that sort of provide spaces for niches. It's done it really well, but it does it in an accessible way. So you have a mainstream crowd that come to these places to be educated, but to also be entertained as well.
The curation of the Warehouse Project is constantly evolving, and it's taken its biggest kind of quantum leap since we moved to Mayfield. The reward of seeing a venue full of people going absolutely mental and loving the experience that you've curated, that's the thing that keeps you going. The whole pandemic was a crazy time for the Warehouse Project. You know, looking back at it now, it's easy to forget the intensity of the anxiety that we were going through, as people were, you know, in all walks of life, I suppose. But I think as soon as that started to fade, then all there was anticipation for the return.
Yeah, it feels good to be back. And you know what's great about being back is that we just appreciate it more. We're not going to take it for granted again.
You can't underestimate the feeling of being, you know, in an audience and having a shared experience with people. And I don't think you can underestimate for the performers and for the artists what it means for them. I know definitely, you know, for me it's kind of felt like therapy at times. So to be back out there and back on the stage and to kind of have a place to express myself has been, you know, you can't even quantify it.
The Warehouse Project, to me, is almost like a living, breathing thing. It expands as needed, contracts as needed, with an incredible knack of bringing all different types of artists together, but have it make sense and do it in a really intelligent way, and I think in a way that benefits the artist and the audience. That's a gift for the city in a way.
And I think it might take a wee while, or like even years, before we really realise just how important it's been.
The Warehouse Project is run by people that have experienced it both as promoters, but more importantly, as fans on the dance floor, as DJs, as people that have spent their life immersed in club culture.
We know that this isn't going to be around forever, but for as long as opportunities like Store Street, like Mayfield keep presenting themselves, then we're going to keep putting it all on black, keep taking that risk.